Hey, Bucket Pond family, this is part 3 of my new Nano Aquarium series. We're going to talk about plants, bladder snails, microfauna, and all sorts of fun stuff that we enjoy. So let's get started. Right away, you're going to see a lot of green stuff in this tank, but you're not going to see any algae, and that's very important. So, growing up out of the aquarium, I do have an emergent stem plant that is emerging from the water. This is Wedelia, also known as ox-eye, and we'll talk about that more later in the video. Down here in the tank, I do have a submerged plant called spike rush, which is very similar to hairgrass, and we'll talk about that more as well. But while looking at the tank today, I did notice that there was a fibrous-like growth on the Wedelia stem. And at first I thought this might be a mold or fungus, so I went ahead and got my macro lens. And no, it appears to be part of the plant. I'm sure this is a natural part of the Wedelia, part of its biology, these little hairs. And I'm sure one of you botanists out there might have the answer for us in the comments for what we could call this. But yeah, I'm not too worried about it. I believe it is part of the plant and nothing to be concerned about. Part of the fun with these projects is learning what this is, what is that thing, what is happening here, why did this work, why didn't this work. All fun things for us to learn and enjoy. Now, the tank was set up for these bladder snails. I want to see if their color can be passed on to their offspring. And as things are right now, the snails are still breeding very heavily, and that's pretty normal for them in good situations. So that makes me happy to see them frolicking and doing snail stuff like they enjoy. These are bladder snails, Ficella acuta, and they are part of a long-term breeding program that I've been running here for years at the Bucket Ponds headquarters. Now, looking at the tank from the front, I can tell you that I'm very happy with this project. I think that we did a great job. But I want to look at the Wedelia a little bit more. This plant up here is meant to carry the aquarium to start growing roots and start, filtering the water, essentially. And I got that stem from my bulk plant shelf right here. During the last video, I was talking about how Wedelia likes to grow tall vertical stems and then it likes to fall over, almost like it's meaning to do so intentionally. And I believe it is, because once a long stem falls over, that allows every node on the plant to contact soil or water to grow roots and form a new plant, to clone itself. And I do have some Wedelia out here in the oasis as well. Winter is coming, so this won't last long out here, but it will regrow in the summer, in the spring. It's a very interesting plant, and yeah, I happened to find this from a wild pond many years ago. We brought it home and we still have it, and this is the exact same plant in our aquarium right now. They are clones. They're all clones, which I just like thinking about that kind of stuff. But yes, the tank looks good. My little DIY airstone is not perfect, but it's doing the job. Yeah. And our snails have maintained their color. I did talk about bladder snails possibly changing color in the previous episode, and I know that sounds weird, but it's what I observed in my first experiments many years ago. And it's most likely observational error. I wasn't very knowledgeable back then, so it's possible that I made mistakes. Yeah. And I've been trying to answer that question, will bladder snails pass on their body color to their offspring? I've been trying to answer that question for a while, and I want to do so now with this project. You guys have even asked me to to pursue this line of thought, to breed better bladder snails, and to hopefully, make them more interesting. Mia, you've mentioned that a few times. And we've had contact from a few other people who are doing similar breeding programs with some success. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about this. Now I want to show you our egg sacs here. We have that first sac I was showing you is a little bit newer, a little bit younger. This particular egg clutch here is much more developed. And you can even see the little snails in there. They're almost fully formed. and they'll even kind of scoot around in their egg for a while before they hatch. Um, it's very important to me to share the journey with you guys. Does that make sense? Like, we're not getting a ton of views on these videos, but those of you that are watching, I feel like you're enjoying them. And that makes me happy too. You know, I showed you the tank being assembled. I showed you like which snails were going in here, how it was going to function, my hopes and dreams for this project. And here we are, looking at the next generation, which are currently in development. Yes. Now, these bladder snails are special to me. I know many people would say, you know, so what? It's a bladder snail. They lay eggs all the time. And that's true. But this particular bloodline of bladder snails have been through some very interesting events in their genetic history. They've been exposed to horrible radiation from the sun. They've been exposed to metal and chemical pollutants in a pond outdoors. And these guys are the descendants of those unfortunate bladder snails. And I'm not proud of these things, but I am aware of them. And I'm curious, you know, we might have some very interesting snails that are going to hatch from these eggs. We could see another tails, maybe another two-tailed snail. We might see somebody with a form of gigantism. We've seen a couple of them. We might see another forked antenna. I'm really hoping for mantle extension. That isn't truly a mutation. It's more or less just a quirk hidden in their genetics. But I would love to see that again as well. In my ultimate dream, of course, is to combine several of these unusual traits and have a giant bladder snail with forked antenna, a double tail, and a massive mantle extension. I think that would be amazing. We'll get there one day. You know, with my lifespan, I have about 20 years, maybe 30 years left, so we should be able to achieve this one day. And these are baby steps. You know, right now we're trying my hand at selective breeding for body color. And though that might seem like somewhat trivial, bladder snails do have a wide range of color possibilities. I've seen orange, purple, blue, black, and white, and gray. So if we can isolate and kind of narrow down these color patterns a bit, the color options at least, we can start from there, you know? We can start to concentrate their odd genetics into certain families and breed them back to each other, kind of like a purebred dog, you know, like a Dalmatian or a pit bull or something like that. You know, you breed back to that same breed over and over again, and you reinforce certain traits. You might weaken the organism in other ways, but that's okay. You know, we're learning. We're trying to develop interesting bladder snails in ways that are completely legal, of course. Yes. So our tank looks great, and I do want to clarify, I have not intentionally modified any bladder snails on a genetic level. I've simply encountered some that were modified by nature. Yeah. So anyway, our tank looks amazing. The plant pot lid it's not perfect, but it's working well. The air stone, my little DIY lava rock air stone, again, it's not perfect. I don't really suggest you build one like that, but it's working. If nothing else, it's kind of breaking up the bubbles a little bit, and that's fine. That's good enough for me. So we are going to feed the aquarium today, and we're going to use a piece of squash for this. I've been told many times that we should try feeding squash to the aquariums, to the snails in particular. And people always say that you have to blanch it or boil it for a while, but I don't want to do that because I just don't want to. So instead, we're going to submerge a raw piece of squash into the aquarium, and we'll use our feeding hook here for the process, just to keep it weighed down so it's not floating. I like to see the snails, you know, accessing the food down in the aquarium. There's something special about that. Now, the squash is a little different than my cucumber. It's a different texture, kind of, it wouldn't let me spear it so easily. So I had to play around a little bit, but we got it in there and it's fine. And I am going to feed the other aquariums as well. I hope you guys aren't too disappointed, but I filmed a lot of content for this episode, so I'm going to break this into two parts, and they should both be uploaded nearly the same time. So if you're watching this one, go ahead and check my channel. You should find the second episode right away. and we'll focus more on this aquarium. I was running longer videos for a while as an experiment, but I noticed that many people quit watching after about 10 minutes. So I think that's pretty much my limit. Yeah. But our bladder snails are immediately accepting the squash. That apple that I fed them previously, they did not care for, but they like squash. So that's a good sign. So yeah, guys, thank you to my YouTube members and Patreon supporters and everyone watching this video right now. Of course, you have another episode coming up in just a moment. I'm very excited about this. It's a little mini event. I've never uploaded 2 episodes on the same day. It might not work out well, but it's okay. I'm always experimenting, and not just with the tanks, but with my YouTube channel, with my content, with my thumbnails and titles, and all the fun stuff that we don't talk about so much. But I can say the bladder snails are immediately accepting the squash, and we'll check back on the next episode, which starts actually a few days after this was filmed. So I'll be right back. Check my channel for the next episode. This is my beautiful planted pond in a jar nano aquarium number 46 or something. I don't know. I've built a ton of these tanks. They're getting better every time.